Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Punch Podcast. Today, we're doing things completely different. I have a lot of things planned. We're not just going to be watching a UFC card today. We are going to, first, we're going to spin a wheel. I don't know if I'm going to do this every episode, but I know I'm going to do it every once in a while. I got 7 topics on this wheel. The best base for MMA. I've got Mighty Mouse versus McGregor, who would win, knees to a grounded opponent, self-defense tips, mindset, how important is it, high kicks, when to use them, game plan. Those 6, I'm going to spin the wheel here in a second, and we're going to pick one, talk about it for a second. And we're not going to be watching a UFC card, but we will be breaking down StreetBeefs, and CarJitsu, and some other crazy shit that I find on the internet. And you'll actually get to see on the screen for the first time. I'm going to break down all of these fights that I watch. I'm going to break them down, and I'm going to show you guys with arrows and circles. It's going to be like some ESPN type shit. I have really ramped up. Like I said in the first episode, might take me a while, but I will ramp up production for this podcast. So it took me pretty much all day, but I've planned all this out pretty well. We're going to also predict UFC 300. I thought about 2 of the fights. You guys could guess. Pereira and Hill and Holloway versus Gaethje. I thought about those fights pretty much all day today, and I have a bunch of notes, and I'm going to tell you guys some of this stuff will happen. I promise you. It's too inevitable for it not to happen. And we'll get into that here in a second. But the first thing that I want to talk about, the first topic, I didn't even want to put this on the wheel because it's so important. I was thinking the other day, this BMF belt, it's stupid. It has no future. It's only in one weight class, right? I hear everybody wants a tournament style, no weight class type of thing in the UFC. How about we make the BMF belt a tournament, but all weight classes, and we get to see who the baddest motherfucker really is. You do not have to sign up for this. This is not like a thing that you have to do. This is just for the people that actually want to test themselves and say, how about this? It's extended time periods. So it ends when it ends. Joe Rogan always talks about this. You hear him on the commentating. If Nate Diaz had 5 more rounds, he would win this fight. So let's actually test that out. The BMF belt can actually be used for a good purpose. Like I know why they don't want to have tournament style for the conventional belts, because it's something new and they don't want to switch it up. But for the BMF belt, that would, first off, it'd bring more hype to it and have some, it'd be valid now. Like, it has a reason to be here. So I wanted to address that first. The BMF belt can actually be a useful thing, a useful tool for the UFC. I never thought about it like this until the other day whenever I was thinking about Gaethje versus Holloway, right? So, I think, if you guys think that's a good idea, I'm going to definitely start posting that on my social medias, and I want to get the word out, and I want to see if I can get this to somebody that'll, bring it to a higher source, because I think this is a really good idea. Then the BMF belt isn't a gimmick anymore. It's not a WWE type thing. It really means, we could have fights between John Jones and Mighty Mouse. Well, obviously not, because Mighty Mouse isn't in the UFC anymore, but, everybody talks about that matchup, right? Who would win? It's obvious, John Jones would win. But let's see, if Mighty Mouse wanted to sign up, we could have seen that fight if the BMF belt was a thing earlier on. And matchups, if you wanted to fight at your natural weight, Adesanya versus Pereira. Pereira was a lot bigger. Imagine if Pereira didn't have to cut down. Imagine if Izzy could stay at his own weight. All of these things could be settled outside of the conventional ways, and use the BMF belt as a tool to give the people what they want, because you already did that. So I think the BMF belt, at least if you guys don't agree with the all weight classes, but I really think the all weight classes should be a thing, I think that maybe split it into 3. We've got lightweights, middleweights, heavyweights. That's it. We got 3 weight classes. Break it down. And then there's 3 BMF belts for each. But see, even I think that is too much. I think the BMF belt should be, in my opinion, this is what I think it should be. I think the BMF belt should be all weight classes. Not, you don't have to do it. You still have to drug test all the conventional things. Maybe we change the rules to have some grounded knees. I know that might be a little bit too far for people, But if not, all the conventional rules. No time limit. And how about, that's a little bit too much. I'd say 60 minutes. A full hour, and then they cut it off. So this is a thing that you don't have to tune into. And it might end quickly, but it might end, it might end later on. But either way, it gives fighters an opportunity to prove themselves in a different way. It seems barbaric and everything, but it's the baddest motherfucker belt. I think it's bringing it back to the old days, and it's answering questions that people would want to know. Because Joe Rogan always talks about, like, Nate Diaz can never lose. He just runs out of rounds. And I thought about that, and I'm like, well, imagine Nate Diaz versus a heavyweight. How could Nate Diaz take those punches? Could he take them, enough to recover and survive long enough to gas him out? These are questions that could actually be answered at the highest level of competition that there is, which is the UFC. And instead of it being one, or instead of it being, the Pride days, it's modern time baddest motherfucker belt. If you guys think that's a good idea, let me know, because I think that's a really good way to use it as a tool. Like I said earlier, you use the BMF belt as a tool to actually test these fighters to see if they're the baddest motherfucker. Because at the end of the day, if it's just one weight class, it doesn't really have a future for the BMF belt. Like, what's the future for the BMF belt if Holloway or Gaethje wins? So, what happens if Gaethje or Holloway gets a title shot? Then does the BMF... And what if they win? What if they become UFC champion and BMF champion? So, now there's a thing where we have to separate the BMF belt from the actual belt system. Because if we have champions that also have a BMF belt, then there's no point in having it, because the person that dethrones them would have the BMF belt and, the regular championship belt. So I think we should separate that. The BMF belt is a completely different competition within the UFC. It's just another, fight night type of thing. Instead, it'll be BMF, Friday Fight Night. Something different like that. And I know if Uncle Dana catches wind of this and people like it, that could be a thing that could happen. So that's why I wanted to start off this podcast. I thought that was a really good idea. I didn't even want to put it on the Spin the Wheel. I didn't even want to put it on there. I just wanted to talk about it because I thought, I always hear everybody talking about, what if this guy could fight this guy? Well, if they are willing to do it, they can see. And it doesn't have to be, we could have a tournament style. So we have two guys that face each other, and then another two, and then another two, and then another two. At the end of the night, whoever gets a BMF belt has to fight the BMF champion. Or whoever wins all those fights has to fight the BMF champion that won the night before. I mean, it's not something that's crazy at all. It's really just... It's something I think that should have already been thought about, really. Because then you have fight nights for the amateur fighters. You have the BMF belt for the crazy, every once in a while fights. And then you just got your regular championship fights. But that's really my thoughts on the BMF belt. I think that's the only route that it can go. Because, let me know, guys, what do you think the future would be for the BMF belt? I didn't even turn on this light the whole entire time. Let me do that real quick. Boom. Okay. Does that look better or worse? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Either way, I think that you know what? I shouldn't have even turned it on. Turn off this light again. I'll fix it in editing if it doesn't look good. I just don't want that shining in my face. But BMF belt, basically, that's my thoughts on it. You guys let me know, what do you think about it? But now let's get into the spin the wheel. And like I said, I didn't want to put BMF on there. So I don't know if I'm going to start off every episode like this, but at least the episodes where I'm not watching a UFC fight night. Because if this is the first episode you're watching, Usually I'll just do a commentary. I can't show a UFC card. But today I'm going to be able to show you guys a bunch of different breakdowns. And I felt like because I missed the fight night with Blades versus Allen, I think it was, I was just like, I don't want to watch it when it's not live, because then it's not fun for me. So I was just like, you know what? This will be my time to actually do the thing that I wanted to do on this podcast, which is talk about techniques and predict fights and explain, concepts. Because I might not be able to use the UFC as an example, but I will be able to use like King of the Streets, Street Beefs. We're gonna break down Dambe, CarJitsu. I've watched medieval fights. All of these things, they might not be the highest level of competition, but I can still break them down and use the same concepts. But that's what we're gonna be doing later on with like I said, circles and arrows. It's gonna be awesome. But now, I'm gonna spin this wheel. I don't know if I mentioned all of the things that are on it. Either way, you're gonna see it in the video here in a second. So let's go and let's spin this wheel and let's see what we get. Because I think all of these topics are pretty good. And we got self-defense. Okay. The first thing that I want to talk about with self-defense, let me take this off the screen. The first thing that I want to talk about with self-defense, I feel like a lot of people, they say a street fight doesn't have rules, and I've talked about this before. It does have rules, because if you bump into somebody in a bar and you start fighting, you start grappling, and he ends up, hitting you in the face, and you end up hitting him in the face. He hits you with a couple good body shots. You hit him with a couple good body shots. A good 1, 2, 3 combo. And then afterwards, both of you guys are tired. At the end of the fight, you might have a beer. You might be a friend, afterwards. But say the same situation. Let's rewind it. Say that you bit him. That's a completely different fight now. You've went all primal on him. You can't bite somebody in a bar. You have escalated the degree of violence, like, unnecessarily. So, when people say there's no rules in a street fight, there absolutely is. Because most of the time, the one thing that you'll see that's the most brutal is somebody getting their head slammed on the concrete. That's the one thing that you need to avoid. I like to give this as a tip. If you want to avoid getting taken down by any opponent, even a bigger opponent, footwork is what people usually say. But if you go horizontal rather than straight back, that's the best way to avoid a takedown. If you can stay just far enough away to move on the outside without getting your legs, without getting your legs caught, you can set up knees, you can set up high kicks, you can set up right hands, and you can use their takedowns against them. It takes a lot of practice, but being able to circle around your opponent, think about it. If a takedown is straightforward and you're going straight back, you are going to get taken down eventually because that pressure is too much. But if you constantly circle left, right, you're going to be able to trip them up from going straight forward. Try taking somebody down, going straight forward, and then try to adjust it. It's going to be a lot harder than if they're going straight back. So you can never avoid the takedown completely. You can make it less harmful for yourself, but the only way that you can stop it, the only way that you can defend it is to stop it slower. And to do that, I always tell people to circle. And whenever you're circling, you don't want to circle on the side of the power. Now, AJ, what does that mean? You might be asking. So, look at how my hands are if you're watching the video edition, right? So, I have my left hand forward, right? And I have my right hand back. That means that my right hand is going to be my power shot. You don't want to circle towards the power of an opponent. And this, sometimes you can break this rule, but this is usually you don't want to circle into the power. Because whenever you circle into the power, you are moving into a punch. Whenever you move into a punch, imagine this is a 50% punch. You're moving at 50% of how fast you can move. Now that equals 100%, right? You've just balanced out that punch. If that's the best way that I can explain it. So whenever you're trying to avoid the takedown, try not to circle this way the entire time because you're circling into the power, right? So try to circle on the outside, whenever their weakest hand is. Now, if they switch to southpaw, which way are you going to circle? Not that way. You're going to circle this way because this is now the weaker hand. And it's going to be harder for me to move my shoulders and my upper body with this takedown rather than if I have it back here, I'm going to be able to go this way easier, right? So if I'm here, I have to adjust more. I have to move my rear shoulder this way. But if I'm already in this stance and I need to go this way, then I'm going to be able to get you. So look, I'm already moving into the power, right? If you move this way, you're moving into the power, but you're also moving into the takedown, right? And you're also moving in to the high kick from the rear side too. So you always want to circle on the outside, no matter which stance you're on, circle on this side. And like I said, you have to feint to the right too. And this is why I said earlier, it takes a lot of practice to do this. This isn't just something you go into the gym and you practice for a day or two and then you stop getting slammed on concrete. This is a long-term solution that you need to build on. And like I said, don't circle to the power usually, but sometimes you can circle this way to get at different targets. But that's a concept that we can get into later. But like I said, escalating the violence, I'm going to get back to that in a second. I just wanted to talk about slamming on the concrete real quick because that's the biggest thing that is going to make a factor here. So, not only do you want to move left and right, but you need to work on that takedown defense. You need to get those underhooks, sprawl out, but it's on the concrete. If it's a bigger dude, the best way is to avoid it for as long as you can because every fight ends up on the ground. Another thing, I saw a video the other day. You know what? We'll break down this video right now because this is what I was going to do. So I have a video on my phone here, and I'm going to try to find it here in a second. I might cut this out, I might not, but either way, it's about a dude that gets armbarred. And I wanted to talk about this because sometimes putting somebody in an armbar, they don't know what that means. They don't know what danger they're in. But whenever you put somebody in a choke, I like to call that the reset button because they don't often know what even happened. They wake up and they say, "What happened?" I don't know if I'll be able to find it. I know I saved it, but I don't know where it is. So, either way, I will do a video on it later. We'll just talk about the concept of sometimes you can get somebody in an armbar or a heel hook or a knee bar and they have no clue that they're in danger. Even though you're tugging on it, they might be drunk. They might be, whatever the case may be. They might not know that, even how to tap. I always say go for a choke over, trying to break an arm. Because if you break an arm, they can still move around. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to break another arm? If you put them in a choke and if you put them to sleep, that's the only way that you can reset the whole situation. I like to call it the reset button. Because even if you put them in a choke and then you let go, I've seen way too many street fights where the dude gets up and just starts wailing on him again. He's got an ankle, got to get him down again, got to take the back, got to choke him out again, and now he lets him go again. And what happens? The same thing. So if you just put him to sleep, the cops show up, somebody's asleep, somebody's awake, you explain, I choked him out. It's going to be better than, I broke his knee and he's complaining how you broke his knee. Just all around, I think choke over trying to break an arm, trying to break a leg. I think a choke will always, it'll always be better for a street fight situation. Now, if you have an experienced fighter that knows what an armbar is and they know that, they've already, there's no way that they're going to get out of it. That's whenever you use that. But unless you're just a complete submission specialist that can just break arms at will, switch to a Kimura, switch to an armbar, but break all these limbs within 40 seconds, I say choke all the time. Now let's go back to the escalating the violence. You choke somebody out, that's not very violent. It's actually very peaceful thing. You just go to sleep. Now, say you break his arm. You have escalated that degree of violence. Now, what if he has a knife, and then he takes out that knife and stabs you? Because you just broke his arm. Now he's threatened like an animal. That's what I'm talking about with escalating the violence. You just want to get out of the situation unharmed. That's the only way you could ever win a street fight, is to get out of the situation unharmed. And that's what self-defense is all about. I feel like all of these women's self-defense courses, they only rely on kicking a dude in the nuts. Sometimes a dude will not fucking feel that pain. He'll just keep coming forward. And that's the thing, escalating that violence. Like, it might work, but it also might not. More reliable technique is probably jiu-jitsu, but still you're going to get slammed on the concrete. This is the reality of self-defense, sadly. And I feel like everybody tries to make a video. Oh yeah, I'm just going to kick him in the nuts, And nobody thinks about all the other factors. And there's a reality to self-defense. I like to, it's the great equalizer. If you live in America, it's a gun. And that's self-defense. But, mixed martial arts can only get you to some extent. But escalating the degree of violence, I'd say, is the most important thing to think of. And not only escalating it, but when to escalate it. Because there is a time whenever a homeless dude is coming at you with a knife, and you're going to have to fight for your life here. Like, this is a situation where you're going to have to put him in an armbar, break both his arms, and choke him out. Whatever submission you can get, do it. But if it's just drunk Jim in the bar, and you're breaking his arm, it's just an asshole move, and it's not a good look. Because you can get to a different submission. Unless you're, just armbar collector, leg collector. There's different ways to approach that situation. If it's a homeless dude with a knife, then yes, isolate that arm, grab his sleeve if he has one, and break that arm. You see what I'm saying? You have to use the right tool for the right job, especially when it comes to self-defense. It's not like MMA where you can do like Khabib did and transition from armbar to triangle or whatever he did in that fight. Sometimes it's not going to be like that. And that's the reality of self-defense. But I think that was a good enough explanation for spin the wheel here. So I might spin it again later, but either way, at the end of this podcast, you know what? At the end of this podcast, I am going to do a live stream on Instagram. If you guys haven't, heard me say this before, every Saturday, we usually watch UFC. Next weekend, we got UFC 300, which is what we're going to talk about next. I actually got a bunch of really good notes here for UFC 300 and my predictions for specific 2 fights. But I'm going to do a live stream later. We usually watch every Saturday, and I usually do it live. For now, I'm just going to do like maybe 30 minutes at the end of this podcast. We're going to talk to the people. But I always love doing the live streams. Live streams are my favorite because I know all of the people. I know, I like asking them questions. Some people are winning fights. Some people are using my advice and saying it worked. Some people are just now starting out. That's why I love doing the live stream. So we'll do a live stream at the end. Usually we do it the whole time, every Saturday. But now I want to predict UFC 300. I've been thinking about it a lot today. And I'm predicting the 2 hardest fights. I don't know too much about some of the people on there, like Bo Nicol and Cody Brundage. I don't know too much about those guys, and I didn't put the time in to research it. But I will tell you about the guys that I do know and I did research. Pereira and Hill, I've been thinking about ever since they released it. So I have a couple notes here. I don't know what surgery... I don't know what leg that Jamal Hill got his surgery on, but he got an Achilles... It was an Achilles tear or something along those lines. I don't know what leg it was on. But if it's on his left leg especially, I think he's orthodox, right? Alex Pereira is going to tear up that leg with the kicks no matter what. Especially that low calf kick. And it doesn't help Jamal Hill that I talked about this. I don't know what episode I talked about it. He stands at more of a heavy like lead leg forward wide stance. Whenever you have pressure and weight on one leg, you're going to be susceptible to that calf kick. It's inevitable. You're just going to be weaker to that. And especially with rushing this recovery here, because he didn't get it injured in a fight. He got it injured after a fight playing basketball. But depending on what leg it is specifically, that's just not good. We might see a Tony Ferguson type recovery where it doesn't really affect him, but people are human, and these are light heavyweights. So there's going to be a lot more pressure and weight on them than Tony Ferguson's ACL tear or whatever it was. So that's the first thing I want to talk about that I haven't brought up yet. And the calf kicks are going to affect Hill. No matter what. Even if he gets through this fight and knocks Alex Pereira out with a straight right hand in the second round, afterwards, if Alex sticks to the game plan that I think he will, he's going to chop that leg down, and it's going to affect him after the fight anyway. He might have to relinquish the belt again because he has to deal with that issue again. And not only that, I watched the Glover Teixeira fight. He doesn't only have like sloppy punches. I say sloppy, but they work. I'll explain that later. He has awkward foot placement. Compared to Pereira, Pereira has a disciplined way of standing. He has a certain way that he stands. He has his front foot forward, and he has his back foot kind of angled off like a kickboxing stance. This makes it easier for him to move around. Jamal Hill doesn't really have a disciplined stance that he uses. He has a wide stance, but he also brings his feet forward in very awkward ways that are even more susceptible for leg kicks. I think this might have been part of the reason that he injured his leg in the first place, because he has such awkward foot placement. Now, stance is a very important thing in a fight. It's where all the power comes from. It's how you move. It's how you react. Stance is everything. It's where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are. If you have one hand low, it's all weakness and a strength, because you're susceptible to the right hand, but you can also, float that hand up and have a lot more speed with the jab. And stance is everything. And the way that Jamal Hill stands is so awkward that it might mess with Alex Pereira, but I don't think it will. I think he's going to chop those legs. He's probably looking at what I'm looking at too. If I had to assume, if Pereira sticks to that game plan, I would say straight punches in the first round and chop those legs. Because Hill already has that awkward foot placement and the Achilles rupture. So those leg kicks necessary for this fight. Now, Pereira stands very disciplined, like I said. And those leg kicks, they come out of absolutely nowhere. And another thing about Hill is he has sloppy foot placement, but he also doesn't care where his hands are. Pereira, everybody saw in that Jiri Prochazka fight that Alex Pereira has his hands down in the middle of exchanges. Hill has his hands down all the time. Now that makes me wonder, whenever they're in exchange, Hill never has his hands up, right? And he always has his chin up too. But Pereira is going to be able to block those first couple punches because he has his hands up. But whenever he throws that hook, if Hill can hit him with a straight punch, maybe. But I think because Hill has a habit of keeping his chin up, I think that left hook is going to hurt him at least once, even if it doesn't knock him out, which I think that's probably what's going to start the process of him getting knocked out. First, it's going to be the leg kicks, and then I think it's going to be the hook, and probably a straight punch after that, because he doesn't have his hands up, so he's going to have his hands down and moving back. Whenever you have your hands down moving back, he could be susceptible to a high kick, front kick, but I think most likely Pereira's going to go in with the right hand because of instinct. If he does go for a high kick, I would be surprised. I do see Hill being able to react to that faster than the right hand. So I think the right hand is what's going to end up to end this fight with a TKO. But Hill also throws with 100%. Like, he could put out Alex Pereira. I do lean towards Alex Pereira, but this is like a 60-40 split for me. Hill throws everything with 100% of his power, so much he has momentum. Like, he doesn't only use the fact that he's a heavier weight class, he goes forward and leans forward into these punches, throwing them, winging them at you. And this could put out Alex Pereira. One of those straight punches that put out Johnny Walker, that could absolutely put out Alex Pereira. But I think if this fight goes on, Pereira is going to be the one that's fresher, because he doesn't throw with 100% until he's at the end of a combo, right? If it's a straight punch and then a left hook, he throws the hook with more power. So I think he'll be fresher later on, and I don't think the wrestling is going to be a factor at all. Like I said, we got Paul Craig armbarred Jamal Hill, and I just don't think wrestling is going to be a factor. If it is, I do lean towards Jamal Hill being on top and controlling more, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal, because Alex Pereira has shown if he's on his back, he can usually survive. He can just survive the round, and it usually stays there for the rest of the round. And I just don't see wrestling really being a factor. Because everybody's saying, even Hill has said, I'm going to knock him out. And I would believe that more than submitting him. Hill's not a wrestler from what I've seen. But the power is definitely going to be a big thing. It's like the Nate Diaz concept. If you have lighter output, but a hard exchange every once in a while, you're going to be better and more accurate than the guy that's 100% all the time. But here, what else do I got here? I think, I got all of the notes that I pretty much wanted here covered. My ending thoughts on the prediction for Pereira versus Hill is, I think Pereira's going to win in round 2 by TKO. I think it's going to start with the leg kicks. I think that's going to hurt Jamal Hill, even if he didn't have this Achilles rupture, just because of his stance. I think that if Hill tries to pressure, it's going to be walking. He's going to be walking into the right hand. He's going to be walking into the hook, and he doesn't have very good defense. He has, he has good awareness, but he doesn't have good defense, and you can get caught with that left hook because it's hard to see, because Alex Pereira can drop his guard to make you think that it's not going to come and then hit you with it. But I see it happening in round 2 TKO. I think Hill has a good chance of winning this fight too, but also probably by a straight right hand, but not the same way that Pereira has to do it. I think Hill can just hit him with one of those bombs, and if it hits Alex Pereira on the chin right, we saw Adesanya put Pereira to sleep. I mean, he did a good job disguising it, but Izzy is a big guy, but from what everybody says, from what Whitaker says, from what Rogan says, from what I don't know who else, somebody else said, no, it was Whitaker that said he's a big fucker. Like, Pereira is huge, and if Izzy could put his lights out, Hill is a legit 205er. But I think that Alex Pereira's had a lot of time to adjust to light heavyweight, and he could damn near be a heavyweight. So we'll see, but like I said, this is a 60-40 split for me. I lean towards Pereira, and plus he's on that fast track to making history right now. And he's planning on fighting at UFC 301 right after this on the Brazil card, which I think that's the type of shit that makes you pay attention. It doesn't have to be like, I'm going to knock him out in the first round. It just has to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to fight again. Like, that's some real BMF shit. Like a tournament style. Like, oh, I'm just going to go and I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, what? That's not what people usually do? Fuck it. I'm going to fight again. I'm going to fight at 301. Like Mike Tyson, he was fighting, 14 times a year? Yeah, and at 1 year, he fought 14 times or some crazy shit. People have rules until you break them and then make new rules. So, we'll see if that hype train gets dethroned. Now, I also have one more prediction that I'm going to have as detailed as this, and then I'm going to do the lightning round where I go through the other ones that I feel like I'm confident enough to predict. So first, I have the biggest factor for Gaethje is forward pressure, like the Tony Ferguson fight. I've said this in another podcast. I compare Gaethje winning to the Ferguson fight, Gaethje versus Ferguson, that forward pressure, not using complete power shots. Because Gaethje, you see he has forward pressure, but sometimes it can go against him because he's moving himself into shots. And if he doesn't measure his power like he did in the Ferguson fight, I think that Holloway is going to make it look like the Calvin Kattar fight. Now, I do have a lot of specific strikes and stance related details for this fight because it's very important in this one. The way they stand and the way they punch and the way they move is very important for this fight. But for Gaethje to win, forward pressure, if he lets Max Holloway walk him down, it's going to be brutal. Gaethje is very hittable. And it's all about if Max Holloway can find a way to move around Gaethje and hit him. Because at the end of the day, both of these guys can win. Everybody's saying it's a slaughter for Gaethje, but I do lean towards Gaethje in some aspects. But I just feel like Holloway can make this look like the Kattar fight. If the right Holloway shows up, he definitely has the tools to go not forward at Gaethje. He needs to use that pressure like we were talking about earlier with taking somebody down. He needs to use that pressure and move to the side and angle off those hard right hands that he likes to do. And what else do I have on my notes here? Yeah, horizontally to set up the right hand. Because if you move horizontal, Gaethje, he has a really high guard, right? So a way that you can go through it is uppercuts, or you can go to the side for the right hand. And Gaethje, Holloway is better at setting up the right hand than he is uppercuts. But Gaethje needs to be measured, that's what I said. And body shots from Max Holloway. Holloway has a way better gas tank than Justin Gaethje. This is just known. If this fight goes into rounds 4, 5, rounds 3, 4, or 5, Gaethje is going to lose slowly. Max Holloway has maybe the best gas tank ever. That's a real baddest motherfucker. He might win against every single person in any weight class. If he gets hurt by Gaethje and gets knocked out, I'm going to completely, take back that statement. But if Holloway's chin holds up against Justin Gaethje, I think he could definitely take that BMF belt with the rules we were talking about and beat anybody in any weight class. Like, if we see the same thing that we saw in that Calvin Kattar fight, Kattar hit him with lefts, he hit him with rights when Holloway wasn't even paying attention, and Holloway, he stumbled for about 1 second, and then his brain went click, click, and he was just back to doing what he was doing. If Gaethje can hit him with one of those game changers, shit, I could see him going to sleep for the first time. And this is really a 50-50 for me. It really is. But another thing about Holloway, his gas tank's good, but he leans forward. If you watch any Max Holloway fight, look at how far forward he'll lean. He'll lean so he could get more range with the jab and more range with the cross. But Gaethje has some killer uppercuts. If Holloway allows Gaethje to clinch with him, these uppercuts are going to be devastating. And they might not knock him out in the clinch, but they will soften him up. And if Gaethje can find a way to hit those uppercuts constantly, you're going to make Holloway have to adjust his stance to more of an upward stance, and then you can go with the body shots, and then you can take at the gas tank of Holloway a little bit. And not only that, you can get some range, because Gaethje, I'm assuming, is smaller than Holloway, because Holloway's a tall guy for that weight class. He's a lanky guy. But I think uppercuts for Gaethje, it's his signature move, and Holloway, because of the way he stands, the way he naturally stands, he's going to be susceptible for those uppercuts. I wouldn't say knees. I'd say more knees from Gaethje, from Holloway to Gaethje, because how Holloway leans forward, Gaethje also ducks forward. So the threat from Holloway will be the right hand, but I don't think that's what he should really focus on the most. Whenever you have somebody that ducks forward, please tell me, what are the 2 strikes that will be the most effective? It's uppercuts and knees especially, like Charles Oliveira type knees. We've seen Holloway has decent knees. If he can get Justin to start ducking and then feint for a right hand and get him to lean into one of these knees, I see that we've seen Justin can get rocked. He can get knocked out. It's very possible. But we haven't seen that from Holloway yet. And I think if Holloway can set up, it could be a right knee or a left knee, honestly. I wouldn't say flying knee because Holloway isn't Sandhagen. I don't think he's ever thrown a flying knee. But the knees have to be set up from Holloway. And I say knees from Holloway and not Gaethje because Gaethje's smaller. He's going to have to do that in the clinch. Holloway, he's very lanky fighter. He's going to be able to pop those knees out whenever he wants. Absolutely whenever he wants. But that's pretty much all the specifics that I have for that. Like I said, the stance plays a very big factor. The way Justin stands upright, Holloway's going to be able to move around, hit him. But how I say it's a 50-50, but I lean towards Holloway. I don't know, though, because Gaethje's a killer. I feel like my gut is saying Gaethje, but my heart is saying Holloway. I feel like Gaethje might knock him out, man. And if Gaethje knocks him out, it'll probably be in the second. If it goes any further than that, I think Holloway will get a round 3 TKO. And like I said, in both scenarios, for Holloway to win, pressure. You can't let Gaethje walk you down. Holloway has to circle around Gaethje, keep it in the middle, and Gaethje just has to do what he always does. Go in there, be measured, and pull a Tony Ferguson. Like I said, the best comparison that I have for you guys is the Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje fight and the Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar fight. So whichever one of those will play out, I think that's what the fight will look like. That's the one thing I'm confident on the most. Like I said, this is a flip a coin. Flip a coin for these guys. These guys are world class. But now it's time for the lightning round. I don't want to spend too much time on the predictions because we're going to be watching the card next weekend. So I said for the lightning round, I have Oliveira here. I don't know too much about his opponent. I will afterwards because, the guy is going to maybe beat Oliveira. I have no clue. But I'm just going to go with Oliveira. But one that I am pretty confident about, if you're going to bet, I'd say bet on Aljamain Sterling. Calvin Kattar is probably equal with Aljamain on the stand-up, if I had to guess. Aljamain survived Peter Yan. He didn't survive O'Malley, sure. But Calvin Kattar, how big of a puncher is he? Can he put Aljamain out? I don't think so. And I think if it does go to the ground, we've seen Sugar Sean. Everybody likes to say he's just a striker. He's been in many, many, many grappling tournaments. I don't know what belt he is, but he's good on the ground. He just doesn't show it. Why would you? If you're good at one thing, keep using it. It's fighting. You don't want to, try something and then get knocked out. If his striking's working, he'll use his striking. But Kattar, I don't know how good he is on the ground. I think Aljamain will be able to manhandle him. I think that's just what's going to happen. Maybe a decision. Probably a decision. But I'd say that's probably the one that I'm most confident on. That's my most confident prediction out of UFC 300. Now we got Jim Miller versus Bobby Green. This is going to be an insane fight, no matter what. This might be the most entertaining fight. I might call it right now. It might be the most entertaining fight. I think Miller is going to take it to him. The way that Miller's been talking, I haven't seen much from Bobby Green. We saw Bobby Green's had a couple, here and there wins. But Jim Miller, I think he's just going to get it done by unanimous decision. I think he's going to go in there and he's just going to put a can of whoop ass on Bobby Green. And I love Bobby Green. He's a good fighter too. But Jim Miller, man, he's just so seasoned. I don't know. We looked up the stats in another podcast. He is insane when it comes to how many wins he has, how many fights he has, how many this, how many that. He is an absolute record breaker. He's been at UFC 100, 200, and 300 now. Hopefully, if it doesn't get canceled. But that's the one that I think it's going to be fireworks. I think Bobby Green's going to hurt Miller. I think Miller's going to throw him around. I think he's going to hit him. It's going to be an absolute war. But I think Miller is going to win by a split, probably unanimous decision. And the last prediction that I have for UFC 300 before we get into the breakdowns are Garbrandt versus Figueiredo. So Garbrandt has made a comeback. Everybody said he's glass chin, but he's been knocking people out cold. And so Brandon Moreno was able to beat Figgy. And Brandon Moreno's not the strongest puncher. Like, let's be honest. He's more of a wrestler. I think Garbrandt is going to piece him up. Maybe not the first round. I think knockout by the second round. I think Garbrandt, if he doesn't get taken to the ground and just wrestled for, the whole fight, I think Garbrandt will be able to knock him out. Probably with a wild punch, probably a hook. That's probably what I see. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good predictions here. I put a little bit of time into it. So if I'm wrong, these are such close fights that I'm not even going to be mad at myself. It's not a very clear path for anybody. And everybody's kind of split on this. Like, UFC 300 is such a good card. And the excuse me. The fights that I didn't break down, I'm just not confident on. But we got Whaley fighting. We got Yuri Prohashka fighting. We've got Bo Nickal fighting. There's a bunch of other fighters on UFC 300. But yeah, those are pretty much my predictions. I wanted to get it out on fight week. So yeah, I thought about it pretty. You guys will see some of these specific details that I said you will see in the fight, and they will play a factor no matter who wins or loses. But now, I guess, let's go into the breakdown section. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll start breaking down street beefs and some other fights, and I think this is going to be a thing that I'm going to have to do every podcast now. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've been really excited for this part of the episode. I'm going to break down a street beefs fight, but not like I've done before. I'm going to do it live. I figured out a way. I got my phone right here, and I'm going to break down this fight live. Of course, if you guys want to watch this video, please, it's in the description. I give all the credit in the world to Street Beefs right now. But we're going to break this down live. I'm going to be looking down. That's the only problem that I have with this pretty much. But I can pause it. I can circles, arrows. I'm going to explain this as best as I can live right now. So, I guess I'm going to call this one dude Orange and the other dude whatever. So now, to right hand, or left hand, right hand, and then to the body. So obviously, now look at the stance here, or let me get a better angle here. So look at the stance of these two men. We got Red over here. He is obviously more trained. Look at where his guard is. He's got this lead hand low, so he can pop this jab out, right? Look at this disciplined stance right here with the legs. He's got his chin tucked right here. All of the things that I'd really like to see, right? And now let's go to Post Malone over here, who's got the obvious I've never boxed in my life stance. He's got the right hand up, which is a natural instinct, but this lead hand low, look at how sloppy it is. First off, and I haven't watched this video yet. This is a live reaction on all of these. This lead hand is so low, right? This over here is to pop the jab out. That's cool and everything. It's at kind of mid, not low hand position, mid hand position. Now we got dude over here who's all the way low, and from what I've seen, I might be wrong. He might be Floyd Mayweather, but I think it's just that bullshit Philly shell that I'm used to seeing. So let's keep it going. He sticks in that jab, and now he's actually adapted to the long guard, gets hit with some hard shots. And the jab here we go. This is exactly what I wanted to see. So this is how I know he doesn't have as much experience as the other guy over here. So Orange, he has this lead arm up, right? but it doesn't actually do much for him if he's not, protecting the one thing that matters, his chin. So look, he has no defense if you think about it. He has that arm there, but this guy has already hit him with some good counter left hooks, right? I think that was that was the first punch that he threw that stung him, and then it was the right after that, and then it was to the body, right? So this is telling me he's not adjusting. And look at these knees. Oh my god. The awkward foot placement. So I'm already seeing that this guy right here is probably going to knock him out with a left hook, if I had to guess. So let's keep it going, and we'll see what else I see here. And calm. Look at how calm this guy is. Oh my god. Look at how much experience this dude has. Look at his face right now. He is completely unfazed, and this guy is nervous. He's moving around a lot. He is not using the movement, very wisely. And just look at the calmness on that guy. So let's continue. And he just looks like a boxer. The stance is the biggest thing. Slipping the punches, right hand, left hand. And now they're clinching up. Oh my god, look at the frantic energy here. Look at that guy's face right now. Oh no, that is a guy that does not want to be here right now. And now chin up. Okay, now we're seeing a little bit of a better guard here, but then that lead hand drops low again. Oh, there it is. There it is right here. Classic I don't know what I'm doing boxing stance. And the biggest thing here is the leaning back. That's what tells it to me right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if right now in this moment that he throws a left hook, or at least that jab that we saw earlier. If he's good, he'd do it. Yep, there it is, that jab. Haha, look at that. That's why I love watching these fights. It's so entertaining for me. The knees is the biggest thing for Orange here. Good switch stance from him, though. Now backing him up to the corner, right? So he actually did a good job this time of, I can actually use this, of moving this way, right? He didn't move himself back into the corner. That would be a bad idea. So he did something intelligent. Oh, and oh my god, he just moved himself back into the corner. I just said he did a good job going that way. And then this guy, he goes right back into the corner. And so whenever you have someone in the corner like this, move this way. But don't let them go out this way. And this is what you call cutting off the ring. So whenever you do this, right, I'm going to explain in depth right now. This is about to be some really advanced shit, guys. So you see how they are both in the same stance, right? They are both in orthodox. Whenever you're in orthodox, I'm going to show you guys, you are literally closer to each other with the lead foot. So you can put your lead foot right here and in front of this foot. Whenever you're a southpaw, you can't do that. So now that he's so close, he can cut off the ring this way. You see? Because he can move his position and still be in that squared stance with him. Now, if he was in the southpaw position, he would want to cut off the ring this way and not let him escape over here. But if he's in this position, if he moves this way, he is this is where the most space is, right? So look, there's the most space over here. So if he moves this way, he's covering the space that he could exit, right? Because he can escape this way because of all this space over here. So you don't want to let him go that way, but you want to move that way and cut it off, but also not let him go back this way. But this guy just literally forced himself back into the corner. So like I said, this guy has no experience. I see him get knocked out, and if not, it was an easy dub for this guy. Okay, the jabs are doing nothing for Post Malone. Oh, and he's grabbing him. He's obviously the much stronger guy too. Oh, the left hook. Okay, we got to rewind that there. The left hook finally lands with some power. I wouldn't be surprised if the right hand came after this, right? So we got boom, and then he's open here. Right now, he's already open right here. And now, we push him off, get some space, boom, left hook. And it's because he has his guard down. Now look, let's look at this guy's technique right now. He has got this whole arm extended. He's using his back. He's using his legs. Now look at that. That's a complete circle right here for power. Boom, with that left hook. So if this guy can't put out Mr. Orange over here, I don't know what he's doing, because this is just money in the bank right now. Oh, good stabbing body shot right there. And now guard. Look at how close he is. Look at how close he is to this guy. He is putting his head and using head position in a boxing match. Overhand. Oh my god, great. I wanted to stop it again, but I'll never get through these videos. There's so much to break down though. Good left hook, right hand. So now we're about to be at the end of round 1. Like I said, even though this isn't the most elite of the elite, I can still pick plenty of very elite concepts out of this. So we got round 2 now. The left hook, money in the bank for Mr. Red over here. Post Malone, very, very slim chance of winning this fight. And the leaning back. So he'll lean forward as his usual stance and then lean right back. One thing that he does do is switch stance very well. But he's kind of forcing himself to get in these corners here. He got himself out that time. But if this guy was a little bit more intelligent, he would use the corner of the ring to his advantage here. The game plan for Orange is to just survive. He doesn't have the tools. He simply doesn't have the tools to win this. I haven't seen anything that's good yet. Left hook did nothing. It's like pillow fists over here. There we go. That right hand, sweeping right hand. Left hook lands. Ay, ay, ay. He's waiting for that left hook now. But you gotta disguise it. You can't just go with that left hook. You can't Hail Mary it. Because it was doing good because he didn't see it coming. Now he's going to see that left hook. Yeah, set it up with the jab. Alright, we got 1 minute left. Now look at this. Ay, ay, ay. So this is really classic I don't know what I'm doing boxing stance. There's nothing wrong with it. And this guy, he's using his energy so well to go one way with one punch or one way with the other. Because he's so square. Now look at how this guy is over here. Look at how leaned over he is compared to how straight his back is. This is the same concept Tyson would use to go one direction or the other direction, right? So this boxer is doing really well, but I don't know why he's not able to put this dude's lights out now. He should be setting this up with a right hand, moving himself again away, and the body shot is there. So haha, look at this. This guy is actually using a shoulder roll pretty well because the right hand can't land if he's rolling this way. But what this boxer, I'm fucking up that era. What this boxer is failing to realize is it's not all about up here whenever somebody's leaning back, right? It's actually not about that at all. It's all about the foot positioning, right? So if you are leaning back, my punches can't get to you, right? Unless my feet match that distance right here. You see? I have to get my feet there in order to actually hit you. So whenever you have somebody leaning back, you have to, first off, you have to punch them downwards if you're taller, and you have to close that distance. But haha, swing and a miss from Orange over here. And the way that he moves is just not intelligent. He's moving himself into corners, moving himself into shots. I'd like to see, okay, I finally found something for Mr. Orange to do here, is more combos. Because we see that he's pretty good. Oh, good right hand landed there. He's pretty good whenever, the Mr. Red over here, he's pretty good whenever he's dictating the pace. But whenever he gets overwhelmed, he can move. But he did a good right hand too. I don't think there's anything Mr. Orange over here could do. So we got last round here. And this is way more fun than I thought it'd be. Alright, so immediately, one thing that I haven't talked about is the pressure. The forward pressure from this guy right here. He is moving forward so much that he can't even think. He doesn't know, first off, how to use his hands. He doesn't know how to use his brain whenever he's stressed. He doesn't know how to use his feet. He doesn't know how to use his hips. He doesn't have good alignment in his back. Look at all these problems that I'm finding right now. And then let's go over here to this guy and everything he's doing right. In this frame that I've just randomly picked, he has both hands up. He has his chin semi-tucked. He has that upward stance that I was talking about that he's using very well. And then he has a very balanced stance right here. This is a clear mismatch, but it shows you a lot. This is what experience will do. Look at how important this experience is. And the dude is fucking ripped. Alright, 1-2 from Mr. Orange over here. Oh, this is something I've always wanted to break down, and nobody's really showed it to me in a good way. So now, he goes, dodges that punch, blocks that punch, and now, he's going to go with that body shot, right? Perfect. I did this perfectly. So he's going to go in with this body shot. Whenever you are finished with that body shot, look at where his position is. Boom. Right? This hand, you can't use it anymore. It's already completely expanded this side of the body. But what's perfect position here? The overhand right over the guard. I wouldn't want them to be this close. Like, look at, oh my god, look at how close they are. There's no space in between them. I'd say do the body shot overhand combo whenever you're further away, but they just perfectly load up into each other. I would like to see it from further away though. And the calmness from this guy is insane. Swinging right hand from the first time. Ooh, good long guard. 1-2. It'd be crazy if we saw an upset from Orange over here. And, oh my god, he'd reversed it too. This is another thing that you can do. So he gets him into this corner, right? And now he gets that long guard, throws the overhand, body shot. He did the opposite. You see that? It's just very intelligent fighting from him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's had over a dozen fights. But the inability to knock him out is really surprising me here. There we go. I'll tell you what. This guy right here, this is a fucking tough guy right here. Because he's taken some bombs from this dude. Body. Okay, he's still going to the body. Oh, finally gets caught with the right hand. But the Red's punches did way more damage. You could tell he tried to shake it off. Yeah, this is... Like I said, there's no path to victory here. There was no way for him to win, really. I mean, there's always a chance, but he just doesn't have the tools here. Oh, gets hit with the right. Okay, so from this position, from the pattern that I've seen before, he is going to throw that left hook to the body. And now, well, it's in perfect position. All the way around with that right hand. Or all the way around. Boom, that's a fucked up arrow, but you got it. Because look at how open he is right here. We can even zoom in a little bit. Look at this. Look at this guy. He is so open to that right hand, but like I said, you need to go down with the punch. And nope, we don't see it. Right hand, jab, jab. He slips. 30 seconds left in this one. Right hand to the body. Left hook. Ooh, he's starting to hurt him now. I would like to see this urgency earlier. You're just beating on this dude for no reason. You know you could put his lights out. He's still there, though. He's getting hit in the face hard, and he's still there. Damn it. He is getting worked on, though. Yeah, so I don't think... Guys, do we need to stick around for the decision there? He said it was very close. Yeah, okay, let's skip this one. I don't think he was that close. I think that was a one-sided beatdown. So now we're moving on to CarJitsu. And, this is one of my favorite things. I haven't ever broke down grappling before on my channel. I can't do it in person. I've never had any grappling experience. I mean, I have, but not any official grappling experience. But I do know a lot about breaking it down. We have seen Davidson 3 times now on my channel. He's like He's like an itch that you fucking can't scratch. You can't get rid of him. He just keeps fucking coming back. A lot of good techniques from Davidson that we've seen over the 3 times that he's been on my channel now. Or the 2 times. So, the biggest thing in CarJitsu is the utilization of the seatbelt and the seats. This might sound stupid, but I love breaking shit down like this because it kind of ties into the self-defense thing we were talking about at the beginning of the episode. You might defend yourself in a car. If you know the seatbelt rule, you know you can, like this guy right here. This guy is an absolute killer. If you ever get this guy in a car, he's probably going to strangle you. Like, no. If you have no CarJitsu training, this guy is going to strangle you. And he's a very common competitor here at CarJitsu. But let's skip forward to the action here. Alright, so like I said, they have mouthpieces, and the biggest thing here is, okay, they are both wearing red, so we're going to change our color schemes to blue. The seatbelts here, it's really a battle of whoever can get to the other's seatbelt first. Or let me change that color. Who can get to the other's seatbelt first, right? Because not only does the seatbelt allow control over opponent, it also allows you to strangle the neck, control. I've seen you can control limbs, you can control posture. Very important, and we'll see. I guarantee that Davidson here will be the faster one to pull the seatbelt. Just because he's like a legend on this channel. He has to do it. So now I'm going to pause it. Boom. Alright. You see how fast that interaction happened there? Let's see. Okay, and both of the seatbelts are not being utilized. Okay. Oh, look at that. We've already... Oh, that's a face cam. Face cam and a face cam. Okay. So we've already got some valuable information here. We actually got the seatbelt wrapped around the arm of Davidson here. So that's controlling the posture. Oh my god, look at that absolute control from the seatbelt here. All the way from across the car. So I like to compare this to, like, now he has back control. This guy over here has back control without actually having back control. Alright, I need to stop pausing it. I want to break down every single moment. I can't actually let it happen. I need to let it happen a little bit. Oh, wow. He is completely out of the car. Now, this is when you can isolate these limbs right here. You can isolate the limbs. Oh, I can keep this on screen. Oh, no. Never mind. Wow. What happens if they fall out of the car? They are both... Okay, whoa. I'm going to break this down. This is about 60% of your body weight. Probably more. How the fuck have they not fallen out of this car yet? Because I can see in the sunroof. They're going to fall. Oh. If they touch the ground, they have to get back in. Okay. So he's trying to pull him back in then. He does not want to give up this position. This guy does not want to give up that position. This is such a very interesting martial art for me. I don't know if it's as interesting for everybody else. Hopefully I can break it down a little bit so you guys can understand. Now look, both of these guys are trying... Oh, whoa. Okay, let's move that. Boom. Both of these guys are trying to control each other right now. And, oh my god, this is such a bad position. So now these underhooks, right? We've seen Davidson is very good with these underhooks. Very important to be on top of your opponent, because not only is this, good for points. I don't know if points are a thing in CarJitsu, but look at how much space he has over here, right? There's no space. The most important thing in wrestling is space. And one critique that I have is look at how much space is in between them here. You don't want to let that happen. The more that you close this gap right here in between each other, the more that you're going to be able to control. The more spaces that's in between you guys, the less control you're going to have. So now that I want to see more pressure here. Oh, they changed the camera. I don't know if the other guy is in a headlock position, but wrist control here. Okay, now here we've got pressure on the top. Now he needs to push downwards this way, right? He doesn't just need to put He just doesn't need to put pressure down on the head. He needs to put pressure down on the entire body, especially in CarJitsu, because he needs to force him in that very uncomfortable position. Okay, now the wrist control is not allowing him to do that. And another good thing that Davidson is doing is, sorry about that, he is going all the way to the roof of the car. Let me put this back. He's going all the way to the roof over here of the car. He's using 2 points of contact here to control this situation. Oh, and here we go, finally. He needs to get his body more on top to put down that pressure. But he's good job with this head control right here, trying to push up, and the end goal would be to push there, go around. But now he's flipped himself over. That's not what I meant. Oh my god, this is not something that any man wants to be in. This is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen. He's about to get his head chopped off. Oh, the ear. Jesus, let's zoom in on this. He's almost out of the car, yeah. I don't know what he could accomplish from here other than he can't even really get a heel hook. Whoa, is he about to be on the roof? What the fuck? What? Okay, so I have never seen this before. This dude never fails me. This is the one thing I was about to say. Whenever you do that, now, how many points of contact does he have in the car here? Let's check. So he has the leg here. That has no support. He has a leg here, or a leg right here. That's no support. He is gripping the steering wheel. That's the only support that he really has. This, nothing. So nothing here, nothing here, some kind of grip here, nothing here. What kind of situation did you just put yourself in? And he falls out? Oh my god, he's oh my god, this is... Oh my god. Oh my god. You guys... Is he not hitting the floor yet? You guys know what's happening right here. That was just hilarious. Okay, he hit the ground. So now, I'm curious, do they go right back to the passenger seat? Yeah. Wow. So he should have done that. Instead of going up and out of the car, he should have went down and hit the ground. He should have put a point of contact on the ground. That would be the most tactical way that you can approach this. So now, 5 seconds left. And Davidson over here, I think he might have been just trying to rest because he knows 5 seconds won't do anything. Wow. So this is just like... This is the most brutal jiu-jitsu that you can get. I know grappling is usually boring. I'd say this is better most of the time. Other than combat jiu-jitsu. Combat jiu-jitsu is great to watch. But this, strangling somebody with a seatbelt, it's just so entertaining. Anything can happen. And look at the smiles on these guys' face. Look at these guys. They're having a blast. Buckle it up. And the temperature in the car plays a really big factor in this. Okay, so now both of these guys, we got more over here has already got the control. Let's let this play out a little bit. I'm pausing a little bit too much, I think. So now, yeah, he's trying to go to the back seat. More space in the back seat, obviously. Now, I imagine the dude on top is going to end up in a floorboard. Yep, exactly. Whenever you're on top and scrambling like that, oh no, Davidson ends up in the floorboard. Great job maintaining that position. This isn't good for Davidson. Oh, and he's about to strangle him with his seatbelt. So once you get... Alright, so you can't really see him, but once you get a partial pressure with the seatbelt, like this is a seatbelt on his neck, whenever you get partial pressure like this, that's uncomfortable. Whenever you are able to wrap it all the way around, there's pretty much no way of getting out of it. and it's like strangling you. And I think that might be what he's doing. Okay, it's locked now. But he's trying to use an Ezekiel choke here, using his forearm and the seatbelt lock as pressure. So if I can get a better angle here, I will pause this to show you guys. But I don't think... No, it's not happening anymore. So the pressure here is... He's got more points at this point. I don't really know how the points work here, but 86 degrees in the car, he said. The wrist control, great wrist control. Oh, this is perfect here. So this wrist control from Davidson doesn't do much whenever he is pushing off of this, what is that, the side console. Whenever he's pushing off of this, he's putting so much pressure that the wrist control won't matter unless he breaks this way and can pull him over here. I know this looks crazy that I didn't erase that, but he needs to pull him this way. Pull him. You know what I'm saying? And pull him in that direction and try to get him over here in all of this empty space. Because if I could put it this way, there's nothing over here. There's nothing else. But there is space over here. So his only option is to break the grip right here and then pull him towards the open space. Oh, and that was actually a good strategy, but he's just not executing it well. There you go. He needed to put him to that side instead of on top of him. But that wrist control was very important. And you can definitely grab the gi, I would assume. So now he's pushing him back. And that seatbelt lock is a killer sometimes. Oh, he's got the leg wrapped. Haha, look at that. That's hilarious. And the calmness from this Davidson guy right here. Maybe one day he won't be in one of the CarJitsu videos. Maybe. Oh, and he's got that ankle completely wrapped up right now. Now, I'd say abandon the ankle. Abandon the ankle and go for anything. Go for more control. You've already got that ankle wrapped up twice, I think. He needs to pull that leg. See, he had that ankle. He should have pulled that leg and flattened him out on that seat. And the head positioning from Davidson is really actually what's helping him survive a little bit here. There's no clear winner. So, okay, so season points are the only thing that matters. Okay, I understand. Wrist control is the most important thing in CarJitsu. Because if you can control the limbs, you can control where the body will go. You can't really control the body with no space. But you can break the posture with their limbs. Putting the seat down, that's another strategy that you need to use. So horrible camera angle here. But finally, good positioning. Got one hook in, but time. Okay, so elimination round. I hope there's an elimination round now. Oh, they're going to the back seat now. So this is going to be very interesting. I've only seen one round in the back seat, which was the first video I did. So now let's break down what's different if it's not obvious here. So here in these seats, there is a clear advantage and disadvantage. Can you point it out? It's a tactical advantage. You have to look at your landscape sometimes to know when you're weak in a fight. Some people will pick the driver's seat. I do not recommend this because look at how much space this takes up, right? Whenever you don't have as much space, like over here, look at how much space he has, right? Look at all this. Look at all that space. Now, let me put that back. Look at all this space over here. Now, let's go over here. Boom. And this isn't just because of the camera angle. This is because the steering wheel. You've been in a car before. You know it takes up space. But now, if we go to the back seat, look at how much space that they have. Look at this. And we didn't talk about in between. So look at these seats. Boom. Boom. Bop, 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 bop. So that's how much space they have in between each other. Now look at how much space they have in between each other back there. Like, isn't that such a harder position to be in. And now all of the walls over here, or all the walls in here, are closing in on them. So now the only way to go is going to be up. So both of these gentlemen, I would not be surprised if they both turned out like this. They both turn and face each other like this, and then try to put downward pressure. Whoever gets on top first and puts downward pressure will probably win this engagement. Both thumbs up from both of them. And exactly. So whoever got up first won that engagement. So Davidson got up first, and now look. So I was just talking about, now we've got him pressed up against the wall because he has the upward pressure, right? And now he has a seatbelt going around the neck here. Ezekiel choke, which Davidson, oh no, he's trying to go for a guillotine here. 3 steps to a guillotine. He blocked his chin, never mind. Collect the chin, connect, and then compress. And we've got just control here. So now I would say, if this locks, you can use your forearm to create a full choke around his neck, but you have to have it locked. If not, you have to use the slack to go all the way around. And it's just the pressure here, the upward pressure. You have to have upward pressure, and especially if you're wrestling in a car. Double wrist control, and then we've got okay, they switched the grip now. We've got, okay, he puts forward the seat. Oh my god, wait, I need to go back. Hold on a second. This car has a cracked windshield. When the hell did somebody get their head slammed into the windshield? That's what I need to know. Oh, he's got back control. Oh. He's got it wrapped around his body now. The seatbelt might be the most important tool that you have. Yeah, it's like, look at this. So look at how much space is in between them. You can only see this right here. And on the seat, the only choice that he has in this situation is to turn around. Right? This guy needs to turn around and push him. Because, like I said earlier, what's so important in wrestling... Oh, I messed this up. Hold on a minute. So what's so important in wrestling? Space. Yeah, I did it again. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So, let's just continue. That's a sign that it's about to end soon. Oh, 2 minutes left, but I don't think it's gonna... I think he might get a choke here. He's got it wrapped around his neck now, I believe. Oh, he's got it all the way wrapped around his neck. Now, what he needs to do... No. What he needs to do, instead of wrapping it around here and trying to put it all the way around and connect, what he needs to do is keep that grip here and then put his forearm down. He needs to put his forearm down because that way it'll completely compress this choke. I know he's going to try to wrap it all the way around his neck. That is not what he needs to do. Put that forearm down. Forearm down. Exactly. Forearm down. All the way around. Exactly. And now, this is exactly like a rear naked choke with the arm around the neck. This is a beautiful way to finish this. There's no way he gets out of this. He should tap. And, yeah, but he's trying to put it all the way down. Maybe he might break the grip on his hand. Yep, tap. I called it. I called that entire round. I've seen Davidson like 2 times now, 3 times, so I know some of his moves now. And they're both exhausted after that. That was one of the most entertaining jiu-jitsu matches I've ever watched. I hope you guys could understand the concepts that were broken down there that apply to real life as well, and self-defense like we talked about earlier. Wow. All right, we don't need to stick around for the interview. Perfect. Okay. So I was talking about earlier with the orthodox stance, how you can get in closer to each other, right? So look at the southpaw. The rear foot is the most important thing, because now both of you are forced to fight in a way that you can't get close to each other. So everybody talks about the lead hand, right? The lead hand is the most important thing. The lead hand. But they don't talk about why the lead hand is so important. Why is it not important in orthodox? Because look at the space right here. I can't get my right hand off like I would usually want to do because of the space. If you were orthodox, there wouldn't be as much space in between you. So let's talk about some of the things that you would be susceptible to, right? So you've got the lead knee, because all of this space all of the good attacks that you have are going to be on this side of your body. These are going to be your rangefinders. That's what I like to call rangefinders, right? I need to put a little bit of different colors here. But the rear side of your body right here is going to have the most power and the most accuracy whenever you're in southpaw position. And it's all because of the way that you're standing. It doesn't allow you to get close to each other, right? So now the southpaw stance, it isn't just an awkward way of fighting. You are literally opening up. Here, let's break down how many strikes you're opening up. You've got that body kick, right? You've got the left hand, of course, to the head. You've got the knee that we were talking about. You've got the overhand left that I like to see a lot. I like to see the lead body kick, because that's a liver strike now, and you can just pop that up whenever you want. And those are just a couple things. And one last thing before we actually get into it. I just wanted to talk about southpaw real quick, because I've always wanted to just put this out there real quick. Lead foot outside. Why? Because it sets this up. So you're instead of being orthodox, you have to get that foot on the outside, because you need to get closer to throw that here. I don't know if he has his hand connected, but he does have control here. You know, with this hand here, it's not really going to help him. He's not going to pick him up, is he? Oh, where's his other hand? Is he going to pick him up over here? Because I was about to say, you kind of want to push to the opposite side over here, so he breaks the grip right here instead of going into the choke more. But depending on how this grip is, he could also break the grip by going this way, because I don't think that choke is in right now. But depending on what the grip is, you don't want to go this way. But how it is right here, I would say you don't want to put this hand here. You could just push off this hip and kind of... Wow. That guy is a fucking savage. Alright, I'm going to stop the breakdown portion because I'm having a little bit too much fun with it. We'll do a little bit of that later. I might make that an individual video because that seems fun. Either way, I think now is time for the live stream part of the video. Let me take a little drink of this water real quick. Guys, before we do that live stream, between me and you, that was the most fun I've ever had doing a breakdown. Usually, I'll do everything a different way. Editing and all the breakdowns you've ever seen have been done in a way that was not that fun for me. That was the most fun and most clear I have ever been able to break down with the arrows. And if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, I like to break down things with arrows so I can explain it better to people that... So, I'm going to side tangent real quick. There's different ways that people learn. In hand, like in person, that would be like coaching. But some people are visual learners. And if I show these arrows, it's just a different way to show people. And this podcast, guess what it would be? It'd be the auditory. Because if you listen to it, then you get to learn the information. So I'm literally trying to go the 3 different routes of learning to touch all the bases here. Because if it's tactile, it's out there hitting the bag. But some people don't learn as good as that. They have to watch film. And if I have the arrows, it's even more visual. And the auditory is the podcast because you're hearing it, and you're hearing me explain it. So I like to cover all of those bases. And doing it like this on a podcast format just makes it so much more fun and seamless for me. But like I said, we're going to do the live stream section for 30 minutes. I don't know. I'm undecided on if I want to do a live stream the whole entire podcast. I don't think I do. Because if I plan it like this, if I have breakdowns and predictions, I won't have to watch a UFC fight. And I can actually have, videos for you. And everybody can learn. Everybody can learn. Whatever learner you are, that is a word. Learner is a word. Whatever type of learner you are, or learning that you use, you will be able to understand it. Sorry, guys. You will be able to understand it in some type of way. But I'm going to go on this live stream now, and we're just going to talk to the people real quick. So, yeah, like I said, circling back, I want to talk about the BMF thing a little bit more. I know I'm on the live stream now. I might repeat myself a little bit. But I think that the BMF belt should be no weight classes. I think it should be no weight classes, like maybe an hour round. I think the BMF belt should be a completely different thing, like a fight night, like a championship fight. I think the BMF belt, it should be like tournament style. Whoever wins the first one gets to have the belt, has to fight in the second one. And they don't have to fight. They have to just fight whoever wins the tournament. I think that's how the BMF belt should work. Bro, it's 5:30 a.m. Nah, it's not 5:30 for me. Where you live, bro? What side of the world are you on right now? Because I'm in Texas. And if you guys are watching, today was the day that the eclipse happened. The total eclipse, it only happens every 20 years. And the funny part is, where I live, it was a rainstorm the entire time, so I couldn't see anything. Thoughts on UFC 300? I talked about all of the details on a podcast that I'm going to post later on tonight. I talked about a really, really good, it was a really good prediction. I think Pereira is going to chop at the legs of Hill. I think Hill has a wide stance, plus that injury that he had. I think that's going to factor into it. The left hook, Hill has his chin up. I'll talk about the details, but I think Pereira is going to win in round 2 by TKO. And there's a big chance that Hill could win too. But I think, just looking at it, I think Pereira is going to win. I don't see really high kicks being a factor though. Maybe Hill might try to throw some, but I think Pereira's just going to try to throw those hands. Do I have a YouTube channel? Absolutely. It's the same username. Go check it out, man. It's in my bio. I don't know how people don't know I have a YouTube. I guess I just don't promote it enough. My Instagram and my YouTube seem to be like two separate things at this point. But yeah, I have a YouTube. I've posted a whole bunch of very, very educational things on my YouTube. Like way better than you can get from a 60-second clip. You know? Ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you. I just didn't see the message. See, I'm answering right now. What's up, Alex Heaton? What's up, Alex? It's probably been like a week since you jumped on the live stream, man. What's up? But what do you think about UFC 300, Alex? What do you think about it, man? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to lose? It's fight week. It's fight week, man. Liar. I'm right. Nah, man. I'm right here. I'm telling the truth. It's all the truth. Favorite kick? My favorite kick probably be the oblique kick. Is that an asshole thing to say? The oblique kick? I feel like the oblique kick is like probably the most powerful kick that there is. I mean, you could say spinning back kick, spinning heel kick, but anybody can throw an oblique kick and damage a bigger opponent. You know, a spinning heel kick, a spinning wheel kick, whatever you want to put, spinning back kick. Those they have risk. You're turning your back. But the oblique kick, you can throw it out there. They're not going to catch your oblique kick. And you have to move your leg in order to get out of the way. Oh, you think Holloway's going to win? I think Holloway's going to win round 3. Hopefully. Hopefully. I have a feeling that Gaethje might knock him out cold. Hopefully not, though. Karate and Taekwondo? Yeah. Karate is like... It's a good base for pretty much the same things that Taekwondo is, to be honest. Alright. I'll talk to you later, Kaya. Bro, today you're heartbroken. Should you join the gym or boxing? Either one, man. Boxing. So the thing about both of these places that you just listed, boxing will have a community for you. The gym will have a community for you. It's just what your goal is. If you want to be a boxer, if you want to learn how to defend yourself, sure, go the boxing route. But if you just want to bulk up and have a community behind you, the gym will do the same thing. How do you defend the oblique kick? Yes, thank you for asking that. Okay, so how you defend the oblique kick? You switch your stance or you lift up your leg. Now, there's a certain way that you lift up your leg, but Jones does the perfect example in the DC fight. He kicks DC with the oblique kick, and then DC tries to kick him back. But instead, Jones, he doesn't just accept his fate. He just steps back. So the thing about the oblique kick is you can't really change the trajectory of it. It kind of just goes to one place and you can't really move the kick out of the way. If you move your leg and you can step back, first off, you're taking off pressure and you are now in a different position. You can go with the right hook. Now this can be countered, but it's still a good way to defend the oblique kick. And just lift up your knee. Charles Oliveira does the leg lift shit too. Yeah, that's the classic Muay Thai style. That's why it's not only the round leg kicks that they're defending. They do defend the oblique kicks too. But I don't like to say to lift up the leg. I like to tell people to switch the stance first. It can be countered. They can try to go for an oblique kick. You switch the stance, they go with, a right hook. But most of the time, that'll keep you safe. If you lift up the leg, sometimes they can time it to where you lift up your leg and then they snap your knee even harder. Tornado kicks go crazy if you can land them. But they're very, very, very hard to land. Bro, why can't you hit people hard? Only do it in the last when they're already hit me. You start to hit them hard in their jaw, but after 2 to 3 punches again, you start fearing what you have done. Okay. So if you're not hurting people, I'd say get closer to them. I know that might sound crazy. Keep your hands up and get closer to them. Power all comes from if you are tight, if you are coiled. You don't have power if you're out here. If you have your arms extended, there's no power here. You can loop your punches, but it's not going to be the same fast mechanics. If you can't reach them, you can't hurt them, if that makes sense. So get closer to your opponent. How do you get closer? Get better footwork. You have to move closer to them. Do I know a lot of Muay Thai? I mean, I've never participated in Muay Thai, but I do know, it's part of MMA, so I know most of their techniques. I just don't know the specific rules to MMA. To Muay Thai. I know how it applies in MMA, but I just don't know. I don't know what the points are. I know you're not supposed to go backwards. Jamal getting taken lightly? Absolutely. He has explosive punches. He's got the momentum. I think both of them have their chins up. They're both heavy guys. But I think the injury to Jamal's Achilles and rushing it instead of going, a year was supposed to be the recovery. He went only 10 months. Alex Pereira's got that. Man, this fly is trying to attack me. I'm going to have to shadow box it here in a second. But Pereira's got that low calf kick. And if he hits him in the right place, he's got that wide stance. Boom, boom, boom. So you never know. You don't want to get in my business, but am I high right now? Yeah, I just smoked a blunt on the podcast, man. When did I start fighting? 3 years old. I got put in a taekwondo because it was the only sport that there was. And then probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I went into, drifted into MMA from there. Not UFC related, but out of all flips you can think of, which would be cooler to learn, front, back, side flip. Which would be the coolest? I think front flip is like kind of, I don't know. It's not as cool as like a back flip. Because imagine if Justin Gaethje did a front flip off of the cage. Now imagine if he did a side flip. It's the most badass with a back flip. It just is the most badass. I don't know what it is about it, but even like a double back flip, that's the thing that'd be really badass. And especially if you can just do it on the ground out of nowhere. Jamal going to shoot for them legs, but I don't think it's going to do anything. I might be crazy, but I think that if it does get to the ground, I don't think Jamal Hill's going to do anything. Maybe some ground and pound here and there, but we saw, was it the Blachowicz fight? Pereira can survive on the ground. He'll just survive the entire round. How do you get more flexible for your kicks? Stretching. I don't want to say yoga, but yoga. Do yoga. A lot of body weight training will help with your kicks, especially with your legs. Try doing the splits. The American splits, the Chinese splits, as they call it. A lot of squats. Just a lot of range and mobility. Just stretch out your legs, man. Just do regular stretches. But yoga, a lot of people say, oh, it's yoga. But yoga will help you stretch out your entire body. You love how you still somehow twisted it back into MMA? Always, man. I always do. I always get off topic, but I always twist it back into MMA. You got Pereira? Alright. But by what, though? What round? I need to know this. Am I using Bluetooth for the live? No, this is just so I don't hear myself. I literally have nothing connected to this other than a breakdown that I was doing earlier so I could hear the audio. I just don't want to hear myself like deafening in this room, so these are just on my head for that reason. Not afraid to tell you that, but these are Bluetooth, so I know I should have like the wire in it. That would make it look better, but I don't care. Alex would have been just fine if he never went to MMA. Motherfucker could still be a champ. Well, now he has the opportunity to be a double champ in the biggest organization of combat sports that there is. So either way, people are already calling him the GOAT. I don't buy into that, but people are calling him the GOAT. He's already made himself into, like, what do you call it, a star. You feel like it might go the distance? Man, that is a possibility, because Jamal Hill might have the advantage here if it goes the distance, because we saw him fight Glover. But Glover and Alex train, don't they? Don't Glover and Alex train? Yeah, I don't know about that. I didn't even think about it going to the distance, to be honest. I had no reason in my brain to believe that it would go the distance. That's interesting. I think Hill would probably have the advantage. Because of the grappling, too, I think he could just sit on Alex if he needed to. Probably in round 2. Yeah, that's probably what I see. Because Alex can't get up yet, but he can survive. You're confused. What's the difference between MMA and martial arts? It's the same thing. Martial arts is every type of martial art, like say karate, taekwondo, boxing, wrestling. That's martial arts. But MMA is mixed martial arts. That's whenever you put all of them together and you have a style that is now MMA, mixed martial arts. It's kicks, it's punches, elbows, takedowns, clinch. It's the same thing, but martial arts is just what you call all of the different ones, and MMA is whenever you put them all together. Artem Vahagov gave Alex hell in kickboxing. Haven't watched that fight. Artem Vahagov. Yeah, I'm butchering that name. So you're telling me that I should watch that before I should see UFC 300 then? Because if he beats his ass, the only thing I'm comparing it to is the Izzy fight, because that's the only MMA fight where he really gets demolished, If they added elbows into boxing, how much, if at all, would boxing change overall? Oh, man, if they added elbows to boxing, okay. So, this is such a good question, Alex. You really, every time you come in these live streams, you have the best questions. So, shout out to Alex Heaton on Instagram, by the way. If you added elbows into boxing, let's break it down first with what's the difference between MMA and boxing. First off, eliminate all the strikes, and it's just the gloves. The gloves don't cut you as easily. So if you added elbows in, fights would end a lot quicker. And clinching would be a lot different. You know what? If you added elbows into boxing, it'd be a lot more entertaining. Whenever you get into the clinch, right? Say I got my full guard up, right? I'm a boxer now. You try to go in with this clinch, I just pop that elbow out, right? I just pop that elbow out. Hard to do that with the gloves, but people in Muay Thai do it all the time. You could just pop that elbow out, start a cut, and now you have weaker hands, but you have strong elbows. Yo, that might solve the boxing is boring problem. I would like to see a modified boxing with only elbows allowed. No knees, no anything else. I don't want to see Muay Thai. I want to see boxing with elbows, because then the cuts, I think, would be the most important thing that would really decide, like, if this is even worth doing. Because if you add kicks, sure, like, it changes it, but I think elbows, they're close enough to boxing that it wouldn't change the style too much. I feel like that'd be a really good sport, because it's still arms. Instead of the science of hitting them with your hands, it'd be just with your arms. I wonder if there's definitely some type of mixed rule set out there where there's just boxing and elbows. Yeah, just create my own. Man, maybe I should do that, guys. Maybe I should do that. What should we call it? What should we call boxing and elbows? Bows and... Oh, man. Y'all, come on now. Man, some good ideas have been created tonight. Yeah, let them cook. Exactly. Shit, Alex. God damn, man. That is a really good idea. I need to go... I'm going to do my research tonight. Hopefully it's not taken somewhere. L boxing. Yo, that's fucking perfect. L boxing. Holy shit. Oh my god. I need to create an organization. I bet it's somewhere out there. I don't want to get too hyped up yet. But that is a fucking good name. You're on your own with the name, though. Nah, Alex got us covered. Alex has got the good ideas left and right, man. That is such a good idea, Alex. Because it really does solve the clinching problem. That's the one problem that's boring about boxing. You still have the long range, the jab, the cross, the hooks still matter, the uppercuts still matter. But good boxers would still be able to avoid these elbows. It would just... The most important thing that it'd do is avoid clinching. Because you'd still have to get in close to do those elbows. And if you get tired, you can't rest now. You can't lean on your opponent. Because you're going to get sliced up. I think that might be the solution to boxing, like, in general. I think that might be the one thing that fixes it. And then the cuts on top of that. If you get one elbow, that equals like 50 punches sometimes because of the big gloves, the 10-ounce gloves. Or in Mike Tyson and Jake Paul's case, the 16-ounce gloves. Which, I didn't talk about that this podcast, but I don't know. I don't know if I am again. I'm going to wait until it gets closer. But I think I'm going to end this live stream. I'm going to end this podcast. If you guys want to watch, this is one of the best podcasts that I've ever done. It's on YouTube, AJ_MMA. You guys, hopefully I shouted out your names. I know Alex Heaton for sure. That fucking great idea. But I break down Street Beefs in this podcast. I break down UFC 300, my entire predictions. And I explain why the BMF belt should be a different, whole different event, like a fight night. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Later. Boom. One outro is done. Now, I think I have talked about everything that I need to talk about so far, and whatever I forgot about, we will do at the end of UFC 300. Hopefully, I will be able to make it to the early prelims if I can. If I'm not busy, I will do the entire UFC 300 card, however long it is. I think from 5 to 9 o'clock at night. I don't care. I will do the entire card. If not, I will do it from when I can to, if I could do it at the very beginning, we'll do this podcast for 9 hours if I have to. But if not, it is what it is. If I can't make it, But, guys, countdown to UFC 300. It's fight week. And, yeah, guys, thank you all for joining me on the Punch Podcast. And hopefully we can do a lot more episodes like this, because this is the best way to do a podcast, honestly. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.